It had been 6 months, half a year since Django vanished before her eyes, since the gods tore him from her, leaving only whispers and shadows where a man had once stood. 6 months since the night that changed everything. That night, Nyasha had learned what it meant to crave, to need, to burn. She had spent her life untouched, untamed, watching men crumble beneath her gaze. Then Django came. He did not crumble. He did not beg. He stood before her like he belonged to no one. And yet, somehow, he belonged to her. She had spent one night in his presence. But it was not enough. She wanted 1,000 more. She wanted his hands on her skin, his mouth against hers, the weight of his body pressing her into the night. She wanted to wake to the sound of his voice, to spend her days unraveling him the way he had unraveled her. But he was gone. And the worst part? Her body did not care. It still burned, still ached, still waited for a man who had turned to dust. The palace was not the same. Nyasha was not the same. The world called it justice, a prophecy fulfilled. But Nyasha called it a curse. Then it happened. A whisper. "Did you not say men were weak?" Nyasha froze. That voice, the same voice that had sent shivers through her, that had made her question everything. She turned sharply, breath unsteady. Nothing. He was dead. And yet, he was here. Her fingers trembled as she touched the air where he had once stood. Was she losing her mind? Or had the gods played their final trick? One thing was certain. Django was not finished with her. Nyasha did not sleep that night. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring into the dark, her heart a wild thing in her chest. It was just the wind, she told herself. A trick of the mind. It could not be him. But deep inside, she knew better. She felt him. His presence clung to the air, heavy and familiar, like the taste of something forbidden. The next day, she walked through the palace halls, her head high, her face unreadable, but inside she was unraveling. "Did you not say men were weak?" His voice echoed in her skull, soft yet sharp. Nyasha clenched her fists. If this was the gods' doing, she would not play their game. But the gods were not done with her. That night, as she bathed in the warm waters of her private chamber, steam curling around her, she felt it again, a whisper against her skin. "Did you miss me, princess?" Her breath caught. She turned swiftly. And this time, she was not alone. Nyasha's pulse pounded. The water stilled as if even the gods held their breath. She was alone. And yet, she wasn't. She could feel him. Django. Slowly she stood, water dripping from her bare skin. Her golden cuffs caught the flickering torchlight as she reached for the dagger hidden in the folds of silk beside the bath. "Show yourself," she commanded, her voice steady, but her fingers clenched tight around the blade. Silence. Then, a whisper. "You always did like playing with knives." Her blood ran hot. That voice. She knew it like she knew the beat of her own heart. She turned sharply, breath catching. And there he was. Django stood at the edge of the chamber, cloaked in shadows, watching her with that same unreadable expression. His dark robes clung to his form, as if he had never left. Nyasha gripped the dagger tighter, forcing herself to breathe. "You are dead." A smirk ghosted across his lips. "Am I?" Her pulse raced. The gods were toying with her, and she was not sure she wanted them to stop. Nyasha's grip tightened around the dagger, but her hands were slick with water. Django should not be here. He had turned to dust before her very eyes, yet here he stood, watching her as if he had never left, as if he had never died. She took a slow step forward, testing him. He did not move, did not blink. Was he real? Or had the gods driven her mad? "Speak," she ordered. "Tell me how you stand before me when you should be nothing but a whisper on the wind." Django tilted his head slightly, his dark eyes trailing over her in a way that made her skin burn hotter than the bathwater. She was still bare, still exposed, but he showed no shame, no hesitation. He was not afraid of her. He never had been. "You summoned me," he said simply. Nyasha stiffened. "I did no such thing." Django's lips curled, something between amusement and challenge. "Your heart did. You think I cannot hear it? It beats louder now than it did the night I left you." Her breath caught. The dagger wavered in her grip. This was no ghost. This was Django, and he had come back for her. Nyasha's breath came sharp, ragged. She wanted to move, wanted to demand answers, wanted to scream that he was dead, that he should not be here. But she could not, because Django was standing before her, and she had never wanted anything more in her life. Her body burned, not from the heat of the bath, not from the golden torches flickering around them, but from something deeper, something raw, something dangerous. She had spent her life pushing men away, watching them crumble, watching them fall at her feet like broken things. But Django had never fallen, and gods help her, she wanted to fall into him now. Her fingers twitched at her sides, aching to reach for him, to touch, to feel, to make sure he was real. "You are dead," she whispered again. But this time the words came softer, as if she feared saying them too loudly would make him disappear. Django did not move, did not step forward. He was testing her, just as she had tested so many before. Her hands clenched. Her chest rose and fell with every ragged breath. She could see him watching her, his dark eyes unreadable. But she knew what he saw. A woman on the edge of breaking. "Say it again," he murmured, voice low, steady. Nyasha swallowed hard. Her lips parted, but the words did not come. Because the truth burned inside her like a slow fire, threatening to consume her whole. She did not care that he was dead. She just wanted him. Nyasha was burning. Her body ached with a need so raw, so consuming she could barely stand. Her skin was hot, her breath uneven, her fingers trembling. Django stood there, silent, waiting, watching, as if he knew exactly what he was doing to her. "One night," he reminded her, his voice dark velvet against her skin. "One night to have me. One night to know what it means to be mine." And then, his gaze didn't waver. "I will be gone." Her stomach twisted painfully. Her body screamed at her to say yes, to pull him down onto her bed, to feel his weight against her, his mouth on hers, his hands roaming her skin like she belonged to him. But her heart was breaking. She clenched her fists. She had spent her life untouched, untamed, unknowing of what it meant to need. And now she was trembling, aching, desperate for a man she could not have. She needed his touch, but she could not bear to lose him. Her breath shuddered. "You ask me to choose between pleasure and forever?" Django's lips curled into something unreadable. "No, princess," he murmured. "I ask you to choose between what your body craves and what your soul cannot live without." Her knees felt weak. Her body screamed for release, for him, for the one thing that could end this unbearable Ashe. But her soul whispered something else. She could not. Not like this. Not if it meant never seeing him again. Nyasha's heart pounded. Her body was betraying her, every inch of her trembling with a need she had never known. But she swallowed, hard, forcing herself to breathe, forcing herself to fight against the fire in her veins, because one night would never be enough. The silence between them was thick, suffocating. Django did not move, did not speak, but she saw it, the shift in his eyes, the way his body tensed, the way his breath deepened. She had chosen, and for the first time, he was the one who did not know what came next. The gods had offered her a simple trade, one night of pleasure but an eternity of emptiness, and she had refused. She had denied herself the one thing she craved: his touch, his body, his love. Django studied her, his expression unreadable, but she saw the storm behind his eyes. Had he expected her to break? To give in? Perhaps. But Nyasha was not weak. She lifted her chin, her voice steady despite the fire still raging inside her. The gods set the rules, but they do not decide my fate. Django exhaled sharply, his jaw tightening. You do not understand what you have done. A sudden gust of wind rushed through the chamber, flickering the torches, making the shadows dance. Something was changing. Then, a whisper, low, ancient, not his, not hers, but something beyond them. Your sacrifice has been made. Nyasha's breath caught. Django straightened, his body going rigid. The gods had spoken. The firelight flickered again, casting strange shadows along the walls. Nyasha felt a shiver run through her, but she did not waver. Then tell me, she said, her voice strong. What have I sacrificed? The room fell still, the air heavy. Django's eyes darkened, and then the gods answered. The air crackled with power. Nyasha's breath came slow, steady. But inside her heart thundered. She had made her choice. She had defied the gods, and now they had answered. The whisper swelled, ancient and cold, wrapping around them like unseen hands. The price has been taken. A sharp wind rushed through the chamber, and for the first time, Django looked afraid. Nyasha's stomach twisted. What had they done? Her fingers clenched at her sides. Tell me, she demanded, her voice fierce. Django's gaze flickered to her. Not with challenge, not with amusement, but with something she had never seen before. Pain. He exhaled, slow and deep. Nyasha, look at your hands. She froze. Her fingers trembled. Slowly, she lifted them and felt her blood run cold. The golden cuffs that had once gleamed on her wrists were gone. In their place, dark, curling markings appeared on her skin, ancient symbols, deep and pulsing with power. Nyasha's breath came sharp. No, this wasn't possible. She turned to Django, but his expression was already filled with knowing. You didn't sacrifice me, princess, he murmured, voice rough. You sacrificed yourself. The realization hit her like a blade. Her kingdom, her throne, her mortality. The gods had given her what she wanted. Django was hers. But she no longer belonged to this world. Nyasha staggered back, her chest rising and falling. She had not saved him. She had become like him. A legend, a whisper, a curse. Django stepped forward, reaching for her, but this time when he touched her, she felt it. His warmth, his presence, his love. Nyasha's lips parted in a slow, shaking breath. The gods had bound them. But at what cost? Django smirked, his fingers sliding against hers. Looks like forever just became real, princess. And this time he would never leave her again. Nyasha's body felt strange, lighter, yet heavier, untethered, yet bound. The air around her was different. It no longer carried the weight of duty, the whispers of her people, the unspoken expectations that had ruled her entire life. She had spent years commanding, ruling, watching men crumble beneath her gaze. Now she was no longer their princess. Her kingdom still stood, but it no longer belonged to her. She lifted her hands again, staring at the dark markings curling against her skin, the proof of her sacrifice, the chains of her choice. Her chest rose and fell, her breath shallow. She was no longer mortal, no longer tied to the world she had once known. She had given it up for him. A part of her should have felt regret, should have screamed, should have mourned what she had lost. But all she could feel was him. Django was still in front of her, real, solid, alive. His fingers curled around hers, not slipping through like mist, not fading like a cruel dream, but warm, firm, unbreakable. For the first time she could touch him, and God's help her, she would never let go. Her voice was a whisper, hoarse, disbelieving. "What have I done?" Django's lips curled into that infuriating smirk she had come to crave. "You made me yours." Her heart pounded. The gods had taken everything from her, except him. She should have been afraid. Instead, she let out a slow, shaking breath and whispered, "Then take me with you." Django's eyes darkened. His grip tightened. The air around them shifted. Nyasha's kingdom was behind her now, and she was never going back. Nyasha let Django pull her closer. His touch was real. His body was solid. His warmth undeniable. But something was wrong. Her skin still burned. Not from desire alone, but from something deeper. Something unnatural. She thought she had won. She thought she had claimed him. But as she stepped into the new world, the place the gods had bound them too. A strange sensation crawled beneath her skin. She swallowed hard, her pulse uneven. Django. He didn't speak, because he felt it too. The air around them was thick, charged, humming with something dangerous. Was this their freedom? Or had the gods only given her a new kind of hunger, one that could never be satisfied? Her body trembled, not from fear, but from something far worse. Had she escaped one curse, only to step into another? Django exhaled, his grip tightening around her wrist. His voice was low, unreadable. "Welcome to forever, princess." They found each other. But is it enough? Nyasha defied the gods. She lost her throne, her mortality, everything, all for Django. And now, he is hers. His touch is real, his presence undeniable. But something is missing. She has him. But does she truly have all of him? The hunger inside her still lingers, an ache that even his touch cannot satisfy. Was this love? Or another curse? What do you think? Has Nyasha won? Or has she only stepped into a new kind of torment? Is love enough? Or is there still a price to pay? If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, comment what you learned from the tale, and subscribe for more enchanting African stories.